So Craig opens again the next hand, and we're 5-handed, and for that reason I would have liked to see a 3-bet with ace-king of diamonds, but I flat here, which definitely isn't bad. We let Scrotum come into the pot. The thing is, I think Craig is going to have a large calling range versus a 3-bet, so I definitely think I can get value from 3-betting. But again, flatting's not bad. When we flop top pair, top kicker on two-tone with the backdoor nut flush draw, we have a very easy lead. We want to start building a pot for value against Scrotum especially, and unfortunately no one gives us action. But we're not super happy about stacking versus Craig. The reason I mentioned that it's 5-handed is that 6-handed I would have definitely not 3-bet and just called on that spot because I wouldn't have been comfortable getting stacks in. And the next hand we open ace-jack off, Craig defends, and we flop 2 overs with a backdoor nut flush draw, so we have an easy c-bet there. We have very clear cards that we can barrel on 10-6-4. We could have barreled a king or a queen, or a diamond, or a jack, or an ace. So really clear spot to c-bet there versus Craig, who does fold to c-bets a lot. So we can see the session has started off pretty well. We coolered that one player with aces pretty badly. We managed to bluff catch with the queen's hand on ace-10-4, so the player did stab on the turn and gave up on the river with like a pot-sized bet, and he ended up showing king-queen suited, so I hope that didn't get missed while I was talking about different hands. But basically his pre-flop play I think is really bad. He should be probably going call fold pre, so calling the 3.5x on the button and then folding to the squeeze, or he should be folding to the open. Going call is probably the worst of those 3 options. And stabbing is definitely fine, so you know his stab is going to work some amount of the time and he has some equity, but I think following it up on the river might be the best line for him. And he didn't do that, so he let us get to that showdown on a bad board in not the greatest situation for us post-flop. You can see there when he has king-queen on ace-10x and we have queens, the real value in c-betting, because he basically is going to fold if we c-bet, and meanwhile he got to see the whole board with a hand that we really don't want him to continue with. We really don't want him to continue with on that board. He benefits from seeing more cards, and we don't. Basically, he has 3 clean kings and 4 clean jacks, and he never puts money in for value unless he hits those cards. So the actual hand he turned up with there is basically free-rolling us unless we get him to bluff off. And we're hardly ever going to get him to bluff 2 streets. If he does, we're usually not even going to be able to call him down anyways. So we can see there that checking back hamstrung us in a lot of ways from protecting our hand versus a hand like the one he had. But at the same time, we're not really able to do a lot about it. I'm just going to pause so we can talk about this pocket 5s hand. So we have 5s in the small blind versus a 3x button open from a 65x stack who's a non-competent player and who's called 3-bets only so far, never 4-bet or folded to a 3-bet, and he's opening something more than 40%. So I have a cutoff raise first percentage on him, and that's 40, and we don't have enough hand to know what he's stealing from the button. Suffice to say, it's likely higher than 40%. So that's a lot of ingredients, and let's try and put them together and make something hopefully delicious. I think basically that this pocket 5s hand is a fold. The first thing is that we can't 3-bet. If we do 3-bet, we're going to have to give up out of position too often, and we'll either be bluffed off because we won't be able to comfortably hero call with 3 overs, or we'll be putting in barrels with 5% equity when he pairs up higher. So in other words, we should know that small pairs outside of like low offsuit 6-gappers have really the worst ability to barrel. So given that, I don't think 3-betting is a good option at all. We're not going to be able to call too often because we shouldn't expect to be able to show down out of position too often if we call. This player is not super passive despite being a non-competent player, so he's not going to let us get away with free streets and the things we would typically want to happen to be able to show down out of position in a spot like this. Third thing is we aren't getting implied odds. For one, we're calling 3x and not 2x. Two, we're not going to stack a super wide range that won't pay off our sets, make strong enough hands to pay off our sets. And three, he only has 65x, not something like 120x. So even the times that we do cooler him, we're not going to get paid that much.